What's up, everybody? Marvel Studios' lack of hero teams is going to come to an end sooner than we think, and we've got a shocking development regarding one of those teams to dive into today. Before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you're not missing out on any videos throughout the week, and also streams starting the first week of December. But enough from me, let's get into the news. Marvel Studios have been working on a project, or at the very least a concept for a project, highlighting their young heroes in the universe. Many of us thought it was going to be a Young Avengers project, and there's been a ton of, conflicting reports about whether it was going to be a movie or a show. They've even started setting the project up, as we just saw over a year ago with the credit scene for The Marvels that featured Iman Vellani channeling her inner Nick Fury as Kamala Khan recruits Kate Bishop to join her new team. But now, it seems plans have changed as Apocalyptic Horseman, who's been nailing a ton of DCU scoops alongside Nexus Point News, is reporting that it's going to be a Disney Plus series and also set around the Champions team, not the Young Avengers. Now, I think regardless of the title, this movie is a ways away. But if this is true, and it is in fact Champions now, it's gotta wait. This team brings the potential of Miles Morales, of Nova, of Vision's daughter Viv, to the table, so we've got to get them into the MCU before this. And with that, I'd take a wild guess, and I don't really think it's that wild of a guess, and say this is going to be a post-Secret Wars project. However, I'd bet that in one of the next two Avengers movies, we see the first iteration of this team working together, then we'll get the official project. Also, I doubt they've even thought about directors at this point, but I'm gonna throw a name out there. He brought in almost $4 billion for the studio with the last trilogy he made. He just said he doesn't know what he's directing next, and I just personally happen to love that trilogy that made almost $4 billion, and the man is John Watts. I know there's a crowd, that's not the biggest fans of him, but he's got a proven track record in this arena, nailing Spider-Man, and it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up getting this job. But what would the MCU's Champions roster look like? They've only got a few members adapted into the MCU so far, but they also have similar characters that could slide into certain places on this team. The good news is, they've got their team leader already, Kamala Khan, who's assembling this team in the MCU, and was a top dog in the comics as well, so we're all set there. It's also set up in a way that she's going to be the most experienced member of this team, with the screen time to back it up after her show and the Marvels. So they've done a pretty good job setting this stage, actually. Which, speaking of, the other leader of this team was already set up for her MCU appearance. That's Vision's daughter Viv, who's heavily rumored to make her debut in the upcoming Vision series that's currently in development, and is going to see Vision finding himself again after becoming the White Vision, which that's how Viv comes to be in the comics. She also has an incredibly tragic story with Vision's synthesoid family that I really hope we get a version of in the MCU. Another MCU debut I'm waiting for, and this is going to be a game changer for this project. He would just give it a huge boost automatically, and that's Miles Morales. Tom Holland spoke about him recently, Kevin Feige spoke about him recently, and unless Tom's going to play Peter Parker until he's 90, Miles is a logical step in the next Spider-Man trilogy for the MCU. If Miles is in this, it's a must-watch, plain and simple. Then we've got a Hulk on the team too, one I'm less familiar with, but he's also rumored to be joining the MCU and already cast, actually, Amadeus Cho. From what I know, he has an episode where he loses control and then comes back as Brawn, and that just feels, like it could be a good plot for this show, considering they thought about making Hulk the villain of the Avengers movie. Logan Kim is also rumored to have been cast in this role. Next up, I don't want to say this one's unlikely, I just don't personally see it, but he's been on the team in the comics, and he's in the MCU, the new Falcon, Joaquin Torres. My doubt on him comes from two places. One, Danny Ramirez, who portrays Joaquin Torres in the MCU, is like a decade older than everyone else from this team in the MCU and that are going to come into the MCU. And two, it's not a given that he survives Captain America 4. I mean, that movie's gone through a lot of reshoots now, so there could be some change, but there were some rumors, and That's all I'm gonna say about it. And those same uncertainties, well, not the same ones, but some uncertainties go for Eli Bradley, aka Patriot, another member of the team in the comics. He debuted in Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the MCU, but then there was a fight involving the actor and his family at Disney, and I don't know that we've heard anything about the character since then. Now, that happened a couple of years ago, so it could be under the rug by now with the company. It's just a little strange that Isaiah Bradley is such a big part of Captain America 4, but nothing on his grandson. Back to the good odds of showing up, though, we've got Nova, Brad Winderbaum, who's pretty much taken over the TV side of things for Marvel, has been talking about this character in a ton of recent interviews. The Nova show is going to come out after Secret Wars, but it's being worked on now and has been, which tells me he's going to be a key figure in the future and in turn will probably end up on this team that he's on in the comics. Then the final member of the comic team, there's two more MCU characters after this who I think will sub in for the team, but the last one from the comic team that I see joining is Ironheart. Riri is another character they've put their MCU spin on, introducing her in Wakanda Forever with a strong friendship and tie to Shuri and Wakanda. Also, I never figured out if this was a leak from her show or like a Disney cruise thing that they do, but this picture of Riri alongside Kamala and Kate Bishop surfaced recently, all but confirming her involvement in this project. Finally, we've got two MCU heroes who do exist in the comics but aren't on the Champions roster. The first is Cassie Lang, aka Stinger, who would be replacing Nadia Van Dyne, who doesn't exist in the MCU. And although she didn't have the best part in Quantumania, she's been a mainstay in the Ant-Man franchise, and with Catherine Newton taking over, I expect her to be around in the MCU for some time. Then the other one is Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop. She isn't necessarily replacing anyone like Cassie would be, but she isn't on the team in the comics, and I think it's a 100% guarantee she's on this team. It'd be a true shame if Marvel decided to waste Haley, though, and honestly, Kate Bishop too is, I think, Hawkeye was one of their better shows. But at the end of the day, I think this is a good direction for the project. The Young Avengers title would have just come with so much annoying bickering and baggage from the fandom, and the Miles Morales potential with this team, I know at least for me, takes this from a C tier excitement level to an A plus plus. And so that'll do it for today's video. As this project develops, I'll keep you guys updated, but it seems it's turning in the right direction. Let me know if you want to see this show happen though down in the comments below and make sure you have a great day.